Hey everyone, welcome. Today's message could cause a divine shift in your life because what you're about to hear may just open your eyes to something you've never realized before. This is why most people fail in life. But you, if you're watching this, you're not like most people. You are a God-gifted soul, created with intention, purpose, and greatness inside you. Most people fail not because they lack talent, but because they lack vision. They've never discovered the why behind their existence. But that changes today because we're diving into a life-changing truth. One that Dr. Myles Munroe dedicated his life to teaching. So if you're ready for a divine shift, a total mindset transformation, make sure you like, subscribe, and help us hit our next big milestone, 10,000 subscribers. Together, let's spread this message to hearts around the world. Remember, you're not watching this by accident. You were led here because purpose is calling you. There is no tragedy in not being successful. The real tragedy is being successful in the wrong thing. We live in a world obsessed with results, titles, and fame. But what is the point of climbing the ladder of success only to discover it's leaning against the wrong wall? Most people fail in life not because they are incapable, but because they are uninformed about who they are and why they are. The greatest enemy of success is ignorance of purpose. Purpose is not something you choose. It's something you discover. Just like a manufacturer builds a product with a specific function in mind, so will you form with a specific purpose. When people don't know their purpose, they start experimenting with life, and life was never meant to be a gamble. Many wake up every day busy, but busy doing what? They confuse movement with progress. But activity without vision is wasted energy. Vision is the key to restraint. Where there is no vision, people cast off discipline. They do what feels right in the moment, not what is aligned with their destiny. Without a clear vision, people fall into cycles. Jobs they hate, habits that drain them, and relationships that distract them. And let me tell you something. Conformity is the enemy of calling. Most people fail because they spend their lives trying to fit in when they were born to stand out. They mute their uniqueness to gain acceptance. But your difference is the clue to your assignment. Even if you know your purpose, if you lack discipline, you still won't fulfill it. Discipline is the price of destiny. You will never rise above the level of your personal discipline. The future belongs to the discipline. Time will test you, but only discipline will sustain you. And what you mismanage, you will lose. God gives us time, gifts, and opportunities, but what we do with them determines what we keep. You cannot pray your way out of what you behaved your way into. Success is a product of stewardship, not wishes. Finally, people fail because they chase success instead of purpose. Let me tell you something revolutionary. You were not created to chase success. Success is not a goal. It's a byproduct of fulfilling your assignment. The only place success comes before work is in the dictionary. Your assignment is where your impact lies. If you find that and pursue that, success will look for you. So as you walk out of here today, ask yourself 3 questions. Do I know my purpose? Am I disciplined to fulfill it? Am I managing what I've been given? If you can answer those with clarity and conviction, you won't be among the majority who fail, because you were born to succeed in what you were born to do. And that is the true definition of success. Ignorance of purpose is the first and most foundational reason why people fail in life. Purpose is not a luxury reserved for the few. It is a necessity for every human being. Without purpose, life becomes a random experiment, and people end up living reactively instead of intentionally. Purpose is the original reason for your existence. It is the why behind your what. When you do not know why you were born, you will inevitably misuse your life. because anything unknown is vulnerable to abuse. Think about a product like a phone or a car. If you don't know what it was designed to do, you will either use it incorrectly or neglect it entirely. The same is true with human beings. When you don't know the purpose of something, you are left to guess. And guessing is dangerous when it comes to your destiny. Many people end up taking jobs they were never wired to do, marrying people they were never meant to partner with, or chasing dreams that were never assigned to them, all because they never discovered their true purpose. Purpose is not something you create, it is something you uncover. Your job is not to decide why you exist, but to discover it. Just like a product's purpose is determined by its creator, your purpose was established by the one who formed you. You didn't arrive here by chance, you are not a mistake. And the fact that you were born is proof that there's something on this earth that requires what you carry. You are a solution to a problem in the world. Your purpose is connected to solving that problem. But when people are unaware of this truth, they spend their lives copying others, comparing themselves, or chasing what's popular. They measure their worth by trends, titles, and applause. They end up exhausted, not because they're doing too much, but because they're doing what they were never designed to do. The weight of a life lived outside of purpose is heavy. It drains your energy, steals your peace, and robs your time. You see, purpose brings focus. It gives you a filter. When you know your purpose, you don't say yes to everything. You don't need everyone's approval. You stop trying to be everything to everybody. Purpose simplifies your life. It gives you a target. And when you have a target, you can aim. You can measure progress. You can persevere through pressure because you know what you're fighting for. Without purpose, life becomes survival. But with purpose, life becomes intentional. It becomes meaningful. The most tragic thing isn't dying, it's living without ever knowing why you were alive in the first place. That is failure in its most dangerous form. Living a full life, building success by the world's standards, and still missing the very reason you were born. The graveyard is full of people who had potential but never fulfilled it. And most of them never failed because they were weak or unskilled. They failed because they didn't know their purpose. They were never aligned with their original design. Purpose is the master key. It unlocks your gifts, guides your decisions, and defines your legacy. So if you want to succeed, don't start with plans or goals. Start with purpose. Before you ask what you should do with your life, ask why you were given life. Because once you know your why, your what becomes clear. And when your purpose is clear, failure is no longer an option. Success without vision is still failure. This is one of the most misunderstood truths in the world today. People assume that if someone is wealthy, famous, or powerful, they are automatically successful. But true success cannot be measured by external achievements alone. If your accomplishments are not aligned with a clear and compelling vision for your life, then you have succeeded at the wrong thing. And that is the most dangerous kind of failure. Vision is not the same as ambition. Ambition is the desire to achieve something. Vision is the revelation of what you were born to achieve. Vision is seeing the end from the beginning. It is the mental picture of your future, inspired by your purpose. When you have vision, everything you do is intentional. You don't just act, you act in alignment. You don't just move, you move in the right direction. Without vision, life becomes an aimless pursuit of more money, more influence, more applause. But more doesn't always mean better. More can actually be the enemy of meaning. A person can climb the ladder of success only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. You can be celebrated by people and still be disconnected from your calling. And the worst part is, you may not realize it until it's too late. Vision brings order to your life. It helps you discern what fits and what doesn't. It determines your priorities, your relationships, your values, and your time. Without vision, you are vulnerable to distractions that look like opportunities. Not every open door is meant to be walked through. Not every good thing is a God thing. When you lack vision, you end up saying yes to everything. And in doing so, you dilute your power and lose your direction. Some of the most frustrated people in life are not those who have failed, but those who have succeeded in areas that have nothing to do with their purpose. They are busy but not fulfilled, accomplished but empty. Because their success was not tied to vision, it was tied to pressure, to expectations, to trends, or to the need for validation. And when those things fade, so does their sense of worth. Vision is what keeps success from becoming a trap. It keeps you grounded. It reminds you that you are not here just to impress, but to impact. You are not born just to exist, but to execute an assignment. If your vision is clear, your success will not lead you away from your values, it will reflect them. It will not compromise your peace, it will reinforce it. There are people who have everything money can buy and still feel like something is missing. That something is vision. Because when you don't know where you're going, you never know if you've arrived. Vision gives your life a destination. It gives your success a context. You don't just want to be successful, you want to be significant. And significance only comes through vision. So don't just chase results, chase revelation. Ask yourself, what was I born to do? What legacy am I meant to leave? What future am I supposed to create? Until you can answer those questions with clarity, every milestone you hit may be impressive to others, but irrelevant to your destiny. True success is not in what you have achieved, but in what you have achieved that aligns with your God-given vision. That's the kind of success that lasts. That's the kind of success that fulfills. Because success without vision is nothing more than a polished version of failure. Conformity destroys destiny. That's a hard truth many people don't realize until it's too late. We live in a world that rewards imitation and punishes originality. From an early age, people are taught to fit in, follow the crowd, and avoid standing out. But the problem with that is simple. You cannot fulfill a unique calling by living a copy and paste life. You were never meant to blend in, you were born to stand out. And every time you conform, you silence the voice of your own destiny. Destiny is not found in the crowd, it's found in obedience to purpose. You cannot follow everyone and still follow the call on your life. When you live to be accepted, you lose your authenticity. And when you lose your authenticity, you begin to drift from the very path that was designed specifically for you. There is something only you can do. There's a voice only you carry. There's a solution to a problem in this world that only you are meant to solve. But conformity threatens all of that. Conformity is subtle. It disguises itself as being normal, as being agreeable, as being well-adjusted. But what if you weren't born to be normal? What if your difference was the clue to your destiny? Too often, people ignore the very things that make them unique because they're afraid of being misunderstood or rejected. But greatness always begins where comfort ends. And those who make the greatest impact are the ones who have the courage to be different in a world obsessed with sameness. You cannot serve two masters. Your calling and people's approval, one will always pull you away from the other. Every time you ignore your instinct to conform to what's safe or popular, you delay your purpose. Your destiny is calling you to walk a narrow path, one that might not be crowded but is filled with clarity. Conformity widens the road, but destiny narrows it. You don't need to be everywhere. You don't need to please everyone. You just need to be exactly where you're meant to be, doing what you were created to do. Many people look successful, but deep down they're unfulfilled. Why? Because their lives are shaped by imitation, not inspiration. They pursued what was expected instead of what was ordained. They followed trends instead of truth. But you cannot live a life of impact by repeating what others are doing. Impact demands originality, and originality requires courage. The courage to say, I will not be who the world says I should be. I will be who I was born to be. It's easier to conform, it takes less risk, it often brings faster applause, but that applause can become a prison. Because the moment you start living for it, you become dependent on it, and you start making choices not based on destiny, but on popularity. But popularity is not the same as purpose. What's popular now may be forgotten tomorrow, but purpose is eternal. It's rooted in design. It's the only thing that will outlive the trends and survive the criticism. If you want to fulfill your destiny, you must have the courage to be different, to walk away from the crowd, to silence the noise, to trust your unique journey. Your difference is not a weakness. It's your assignment in disguise. And if you reject that difference to conform to someone else's model of success, you will forfeit the very thing you were born to do. Conformity may keep you safe, but it will never let you soar. It may earn you acceptance, but it will cost you authenticity. And no destiny can survive the death of authenticity. So choose courage over comfort. Choose calling over conformity. Because when you embrace your difference, you embrace your destiny. An undisciplined life is a wasted life. Talent, intelligence, and good intentions are all useless without discipline. You can have all the potential in the world, but if you lack the discipline to develop it, manage it, and apply it consistently, that potential will never translate into progress. Discipline is the difference between dreams and destiny. It is the bridge that connects what you are capable of doing to what you actually accomplish in life. Discipline is not punishment, it is training. It is the intentional, daily decision to align your actions with your purpose. Without discipline, your life is left to chance. You begin to drift instead of drive. You react to life instead of directing it. And over time, you become a prisoner of distractions, procrastination, and short-term gratification. The undisciplined person might be busy, but they are not effective. They are always doing something, but rarely moving forward in the right direction. Discipline is what keeps your vision alive when your emotions are tired. It holds you steady when motivation fades. It is the fuel of consistency, and consistency is the seed of mastery. The people who succeed in life are not always the smartest or the most gifted. They are often the most disciplined. They wake up early when others sleep. They plan while others guess. They stay focused when others quit. They do what needs to be done, even when they don't feel like it. The tragedy of an undisciplined life is that it looks promising on the surface, but it's empty underneath. It is filled with unfinished goals, abandoned dreams, wasted opportunities, and misused time. Time is one of the greatest gifts we have, but without discipline, we squander it on things that don't matter. Hours turn into days, days into years, and before long, we wonder where our life went. But it didn't go anywhere. We just didn't manage it. People often pray for success, breakthroughs, or favor, but what they really need is discipline. Discipline to control their thoughts, manage their habits, and steward their time. Without it, no amount of talent or divine opportunity can sustain a meaningful life. Discipline is the evidence that you take your purpose seriously. It's how you show that you respect the calling on your life. It's how you prove to yourself and to others that you are committed to growth. The undisciplined life is full of excuses. There's always a reason why something couldn't be done. Always a distraction that seemed more urgent. Always a temptation that was just too strong. But in the end, excuses never build legacies. Only discipline does. Discipline says, I won't let how I feel today rob me of what I want tomorrow. It demands sacrifice, focus, and repetition, but it produces results that laziness never will. You don't drift into greatness. You discipline your way into it. Every athlete who wins, every leader who leads well, every artist who masters their craft, all of them are disciplined. They have trained their minds and bodies to align with their goals. They understand that without discipline, even the best ideas stay trapped in imagination. And the same is true for you. If you want to maximize your life, you must embrace discipline. Not as a burden, but as a blessing. It is not your enemy, it is your ally. It's the guardrail that protects your purpose. It's the structure that builds your success. Because without it, your life will be filled with potential, but void of progress. And a life of potential without execution is not just incomplete, it is wasted. So discipline your thoughts, your time, your habits, and your words. Train yourself to do what must be done, even when it's hard. Because an undisciplined life may feel free in the moment, but in the end it leads to regret. And regret is the highest price to pay for the absence of discipline. Mismanagement is the seed of loss. Loss is rarely sudden. It is almost always the harvest of consistent mismanagement. What you fail to manage, you will eventually lose. This is not just a financial principle, it is a life principle. Everything in your life, your time, your relationships, your health, your gifts, your opportunities, requires management. And management is not about ownership, it's about stewardship. You don't own your time, your talents, or even your life. You were entrusted with them, and how you handle them determines what you keep, what grows, and what you forfeit. Many people pray for increase, but increase doesn't come through prayer alone. It comes through management. You don't get more of what you don't manage well. If you mismanage your money, more money won't solve the problem. If you mismanage your relationships, new ones won't make you a better friend or partner. If you mismanage your time, more time won't make you productive. God will never give you what you cannot manage, because to bless someone who mismanages is to set them up for greater failure. Everything you've been given is on loan for a purpose. Time is a gift, but if you waste it on distractions, procrastination, or meaningless activities, don't be surprised when you look back and feel like you've lost years. That wasn't a result of bad luck, it was mismanagement. Your body is a gift, but if you abuse it with poor habits, it will deteriorate. Your mind is a powerful asset, but if you feed it with junk and never develop it, you'll limit your potential. Loss often feels like an attack, but in truth, it's a response to neglect. We live in a world that celebrates talent, but it is discipline and management that sustains success. Mismanagement turns talent into frustration. You can be incredibly gifted, but if you don't manage your focus, your energy, or your schedule, that gift will lie dormant. And dormant gifts create inner conflict, because deep down, you know you were made for more, but you've mismanaged the path that leads you there. Mismanagement doesn't just impact you, it affects everyone connected to your purpose. When a leader mismanages their position, people suffer. When a parent mismanages their time, children are impacted. When you mismanage your words, trust is broken. Every action you take or fail to take plants seeds. If you don't like the harvest you're getting, it's time to check what you've been sowing through your daily habits of management. Management is not glamorous, but it is powerful. It's the quiet, unseen decisions you make every day. It's being intentional with how you use what you've been given. It's choosing structure over chaos, planning over impulse, stewardship over indulgence. It's recognizing that every resource has a purpose, and misalignment creates waste. People often think loss is the enemy, but the real enemy is poor management. Mismanagement of small things becomes the foundation for major breakdowns. You don't lose a relationship in one day. You lose it over time by neglecting it. You don't lose opportunities suddenly. They slowly fade when you fail to prepare. Mismanagement is slow erosion, and by the time you see the collapse, the damage has already been done. If you want to stop losing in life, stop blaming circumstances and stop managing what you already have. You don't need a miracle, you need mastery. Master your schedule, master your spending, master your craft, master your attitude, master your environment, because when you manage well, you make room for more. What you manage multiplies. What you mismanage disappears. The choice is always in your hands. Don't pray for more until you've mastered what you have, because mismanagement is the seed of loss, But wise stewardship is the path to increase impact and legacy. They pursue success instead of assignment, and in doing so, they miss the very reason they were born. In a world driven by metrics, applause, and recognition, it's easy to get caught up in the chase for success. Success is glamorous, it's praised, it's celebrated, but success by itself can be deceptive. You can be successful at something you were never assigned to do. And when that happens, your success becomes a distraction. You end up climbing a mountain only to realize it was the wrong one. Assignment is different. Assignment is the divine mandate on your life. It is the specific task or purpose you were designed to fulfill. It's not something you choose. It's something you discover. It's the reason behind your existence. Success is about what you achieve. Assignment is about why you exist. The tragedy is that many people are celebrated for doing well what they were never meant to do. They are rewarded for performance, but they never fulfill purpose. And that is a silent form of failure. When you live for success, your decisions are shaped by external rewards. Money, titles, recognition, comparison. You start measuring your worth by how much you have, how high you rise, or how many people notice you. But when you live by assignment, your decisions are shaped by alignment. You care less about being noticed and more about being obedient. You stop chasing what looks good and start following what is good for your soul, for your purpose, for your calling. The danger of pursuing success over assignment is that success is relative. What looks like success to one person may be empty to another. You could be applauded by the crowd and still be out of position. The applause of man is not the approval of purpose. Many people are exhausted not because they're lazy, but because they're out of alignment. They are working hard at the wrong thing. They've built platforms that were never part of their assignment. And now they are burdened by what was never meant to be theirs. Assignment brings peace, even when it's not popular. It brings clarity, even when it doesn't come with applause. It anchors you in your identity so you're not swayed by trends or public opinion. When you're walking in your assignment, you don't need to compete, you complete. You're not threatened by others, you're focused on your lane. Your success is defined by obedience, not optics. Many people pray for success, but few ask for clarity of assignment, because assignment requires sacrifice. It may not look like success at first. It may call you to places that don't feel glamorous. It may require you to be hidden while others are highlighted, but in the end, your assignment will bear fruit that lasts. Not fruit that fades with time or trends, but eternal impact that cannot be measured by earthly standards. You were not created just to succeed. You were created to fulfill. And you can't fulfill what you haven't discovered. That's why purpose and assignment must precede your pursuit. If not, you will build what will not last. You'll succeed in a life that isn't yours. You'll win on a stage that was never your assignment. And in doing so, you risk losing the fulfillment that only comes from doing what you were born to do. Don't be seduced by success. Be faithful to your assignment, because one day the question won't be, were you successful? It will be, did you do what I sent you to do? That is the only definition of success that truly matters. Pursue your assignment with everything in you, and success, the kind that matters, will follow.